Good day, viewers. Welcome back to another episode. This is number 30 in the making, and continuing on with my latest tool haul. I would like to talk about these four pliers, two of which over here have been with me since 2009, and these are my latest goodies. And these are all coming from the same manufacturer called IPS, a name that perhaps many of you are not familiar with, simply for the fact that I don't think these are widely available, at least not yet. Even though it's a company that's been around for 80 years, they specialize in manufacturing pliers. That's all they do. They seem to not have a lot of presence, at least not in North America. So why don't I get going with these two new pair, starting with this guy here. As you might have already noticed, these come with replaceable jaws. They are soft jaws. This is part of their soft touch series, which, as a matter of fact, back in 1988, IPS was the first to introduce such pliers, which featured the soft touch jaws. And this is just one example of them. This is a rather new product. I think it came out about 2 years ago. In fact, all of these are date stamped. This happens to be manufactured in 2017. Product number SHP 135. 135 denoting the overall length of the pliers. So this is the packaging that it came in, and it was zip tied in two locations, here and there, and it is something that the company they would like to have the customer be able to touch and feel, and get a feel for the product, for them to make an informed decision. So in their company website, they actually mentioned that they don't like to use blister packaging where the tool is essentially not, only parts of the tool is can be felt. Why don't I get back to that packaging, which features replaceable jaws. Let me just bring these out to you. They happen to have two different profiles. So one is the one that mimics the overall shape of the pliers jaw, but you can also use a blunt, wider surface area if needed. And all you have to do is undo the two fasteners, and it's a really simple process. I don't think I need to show it to you guys. They even supplied extra fasteners in there. As far as features go, in addition to that, you may have already noticed it is a slip joint type. And as a matter of fact, IPS seems to, I wouldn't say specialized, but slip jointed pliers, it seems to be part of their specialty. A lot of their products feature that, and some, in fact, have built-in spring-loaded joints. As a matter of fact, that other item, which I'll feature in a few minutes, come with that feature. So this is a DIY, maybe for a craft use. Essentially, this is a plier where you don't want to damage whatever it is that you are handling on the end of that plier. Getting on to this other new product. This caught my attention maybe about a year ago. This is one of their latest releases. I like the fact that it is a ergonomically shaped not quite pistol grip, but it is nonetheless a ergonomically shaped handle in operation, which I have used this in a number of engine jobs in the last couple of weeks, and that is why you see the grips have been yeah, I basically didn't clean them, but they do come with this sort of a metallic-y maybe there's some, I'm not sure how they do that, but these vinyl dipped pliers do feature a funky color. You know, it's usually the typical red or black or some such color. I like the fact that in the event that these the vinyls grips do end up getting all torn up, I could just rip it off, and I like the fact that I know that when these pliers were forged, they included basically ridges on them. That should provide a little bit of grip in the event that these vinyl grips decide to not last. And getting on to the interesting features of this. So this is a spring-loaded joint. It's all built in. You can't see any, there's nothing that will get damaged. So spring-loaded joint. It's got 3 positions, but here's the cool thing. In the middle position, there is no spring. So they got it down where I think maybe one of the reasons why they did this is when it comes time to store your plier in your toolbox, I find that spring-loaded pliers tend to, get in the way, especially in this position. It's really pronounced. That takes up a lot of room, especially if you're going to be storing your pliers vertically like this. Having something like that, you're going to have to rubber band it, or some other way, maybe even laying it flat, taking up a little bit of space more than what you want to. But by putting it into that middle position, yeah, you don't have to deal with whatever it is that you'd like to do with spring-loaded pliers. So I thought that was an interesting feature. You get 3 different opening positions. As a matter of fact, I think the maximum opening was 30. They mentioned 30, and that's probably at this section here. Actually, I'm not sure. In any case, this is their 165 millimeter length, which is in inches, 6.5 inches long. They have the 200 millimeter length long version as well, for reference. And this company, being 80 years in the making, that is just a sticker. Since 1940 IPS, 80th anniversary. Yeah. So I thought that was an interesting pair of pliers, which has been handy so far. 2019 is when these were manufactured. Yeah, so let's move on to maybe I should mention that this pair also came packaged like this, with 2 zip ties there. Again, with the same theme of being able to operate it, get a feel for the pliers before you purchase it. Some details. Yeah, made in Japan. Nothing too important here. Yeah, let's move on to these long reach, slip jointed again, long reach pliers, straight and bent. These are purchased, these were my first taste of IPS tools back in 2009. In fact, This was my first purchase from iTools, so it's kind of an interesting thing that I discovered recently. I was just looking into when I purchased these, going through my digital receipts, and I found my email going back to 2009. These were manufactured in 2008, and they've served me well. I can't say that these were used very frequently in my line of work, but yeah, they have been used. That vinyl grip there, I think when I had it in this position, I may have slipped and inadvertently crushed the vinyl grip, exposing areas like this too as well. It looks like the actual layer down underneath this is not textured, unlike these guys here. So I don't know what I would end up doing once these do end up getting even further tattered. In any case, yeah, slip jointed, which was something I at the time was unique. I don't think even today, 10 years later, I have seen such a product. Maybe there's been some cheaper ones coming from China. And I've noticed that the chrome has chipped on that one corner there. But short of that, they have served me well. Oh, sorry. They were handy in dealing with these hose clamps, spring band ones. The cutout on the jaw seems to be a useful feature in getting a nice hold on these bands like that. And as a matter of fact, these pliers were almost, I think in the past 2 weeks I was using these exclusively for dealing with these band clamps, and they were great because you have essentially you have two ways to operate it. It gives you a little bit more clearance in some situations, depending on how you operate it. It gives you a little bit better access. Yeah, I think these ones are also 2008. They're essentially the same thing, just one is bent head while the other one is straight. These have a little bit of flex to them, given that they are extra long. These are 11.5 inches long, or 300 millimeters. Product number is HLB 300 for the bent, and HLS for straight 300. So yeah, like as I was saying, if you grasp on these really tight, there is a little bit of flex, and that is coming from the ends here where they taper off to a thinner material. So I'm gripping this and you can see the flex there. So it's all coming from this area, but the I-beam construction, similar to snap-on stuff, this area is nice and rigid. Yeah, I think that covers what I wanted to talk to you guys today and feature these IPS pliers. Again, IPS was the first manufacturer in Japan, pliers manufacturer in Japan to feature soft touch pliers back in 1988, and they have a pretty wide array of soft touch pliers, whether it be water pump, slip joint combination pliers. They got thin nose, bent nose. Yeah, something that might pique your interest. At this current time, I don't think there's a lot of outfits out there selling IPS tools, but who knows, that might change sometime soon. If you are a user of IPS tools already, please feel free to comment down below to tell us what your experiences have been, or even share us where you purchased your IPS pliers. Maybe eBay is one source for procuring Japanese tools, obscure ones such as these guys from IPS. Well, that's everything for today. I hope you guys stay safe out there, and I will see you again sometime soon.